Checking it out.
Checking it out.
Now go back to settings.
Right here.
Talk.
Talking. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. Actually.
Turn up the main volume again.
These are
How high is it right now?
I put it to the max.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, turn up everybody's mic though. Turn up to like
All of them?
just 2 and 6.
2 and 6?
But you should be good now.
Should be good. Beautiful.
Yeah. You
Oh,
may want
man.
to restart the show.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea.
That'd be a great idea. Oh, no.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you, Ben, for I didn't even realize we've had sound difficulties. It's all my fault.
Well, we didn't really know. It wasn't difficult for us. We didn't know there was no sound.
We'll chop that out of production. So I guess we'll
Start again.
start again. I guess.
Yeah,
But
so how do we do this? Do we just do it from scratch?
I guess we'll say welcome back to Mindset Mastery with
We're banging it out.
We're banging it out.
Paulie G from Westerly, Mindset Mastery. My co-host Ben. I mean, my co-host used to be Ben. My co-host, yes, my co-host Daniel Intrieri, also my producer.
That's right.
And we're kind of re-recording this in a certain respect because I guess we didn't have any sound.
Yeah, and if you're just
So-
tuning in, we have sound now. And
Sound. Well, hopefully we have sound. Did he text us that we have sound?
he said we should be good, but
Okay.
we'll
Well,
probably
assume
get
we're,
one.
we're good.
Yeah, we'll assume.
So just to rehash what we've talked about here is
The over under on the kisses
the park, yeah.
in the park
Let-
for the
right.
summer pops.
that's important. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
It's a great day here in Westerly, weather-wise, and it was also a great day this past weekend on Saturday at the summer pops that were held in the park since 81. They had it in the front steps of the post office, and then it turned into an annual event in the park. And I remember going probably 82, 83, 84 in that area with my neighbor. But I had asked you off air. Are we good?
Yeah, I'm making sure.
Okay. I had asked you off air as well as on air, but we didn't have volume.
Yeah.
How many couples do you think were kissing? I mean, in other words, one couple is two people.
Right.
How many couples were kissing in the park during that event?
Right.
And you said, I have absolutely no clue. You said to me, set an over under for me. So I said, okay, 76.
76 and a half, and I'm going to take the under.
And you said, wow, 76. I'm taking the under.
That's a lot.
I'm a lovey kind of dovey kind of guy. And I would definitely take the over on that. I'm thinking there was, I was thinking there's going to be more than that. So we're going to check the tapes. We're going to pull them.
We're going to check the security cameras.
You and I are going to go through it, say, all right, I think that's a kiss. And you're going to be like, all right, yeah, I'll give you that.
Or like you said, they're reaching over for a Dorito, and
Right.
that
doesn't
looks
count.
like a
It
kiss,
looks like
but
a kiss, but
it doesn't count.
So I'm thinking there was a lot of love going on in the park last night.
It's a wonderful time.
Yeah.
That,
it's a
you're
great
there.
day.
It's beautiful music. There's beautiful fireworks being presented. Overall
I just
a good
used
day.
to love that event as an adolescent. Just walking through there, seeing everybody that I know. School just got out generally.
That's it. Yeah.
And it was such a fun time, especially when I had the freedom of being licensed. I have a driver's license and taking my friends or wherever going there. That was a good time, and I never really, come to think of it, because as kids we do crazy things or whatever, but we didn't do anything illegal. Like we didn't drink or anything like that, or bring booze in or anything like that. It was just something that we had a great time, and I think it's a great tradition here. I say in this community because there's so many communities that come to us during that. There was probably 5,000 people in the park. I asked the guy, he said, "Do you think 3,000?" He's like, "No, I would say closer to 5."
Which is bananas.
Yeah, then that's a ripe banana.
That's
right
a
there.
ripe banana.
Yeah, so that's what we were thinking. So,
and this brings us to today's episode
The
title.
question. What is the question?
What do you do after school? Because you were talking about
Yeah. How do you interpret that question?
you were licensed, so you go down and take your buddies after school now that school's out. So there's a couple ways we discussed before you guys could hear us, but we discussed that there's the sense where what do you do after school as far as when you graduate high school, whether you could go to college, get a job, work blue collar, or the many other avenues that there are after graduating high school, or like you said, just after a regular school day, are you going to work a job, you going to relax, you going to do this, that, and the third,
Yeah. Like
or
exactly. What are you doing?
or even like, what do you do when the school year is over and you're on summer break until next school year? What are you doing? So there's many ways you can interpret it, but I think, like you said, the one we're mostly talking about is the what you do when you graduate.
Well, I thought of it that way, Daniel, because my thought process was when people graduate high school and don't plan on going to college, or people that graduate high school and say, all right, what am I going to do after high school? I might as well go to college. That's the next step type thing. It was just like the next thing. It's like going from 8th grade to 9th grade. It's just a given. Regardless of the graduating from high school or college, it's what do you want? What do you want to do? Where do you see yourself? And most people look exterior wise. They look outside, what's out there. And I'm not saying that's bad. It's not bad. But the point is, you should be looking within, because when you know what you want and you know what you truly want, it's easier to find.
Yeah.
As opposed to shooting arrows at a target that doesn't exist. I guess that was a bullseye. I don't know.
Or you're throwing blind darts,
Yeah. So you need to take time to really think what it is that you want to do. And, and dare I say, it may not be something that you graduated with a degree in. It might be something else, but go and do that or pursue it. And that's the key. And I think one of the things that we spoke about, and quite frankly, I'm thinking we had volume throughout. I'm just thinking Ben's busting my chops.
I hope so, because we had a good thing going.
Yeah, but anyhow, we'll find out what's happening. And I think if you re-air it, maybe the sound won't be on, but whatever, you'll figure it out.
I hope so. I hope we have sound.
Yeah, but I think we do now.
Yeah, we definitely do now.
But what makes you so convinced that we have sound now?
I texted Ben. He said we do because he's watching.
Okay, so he's checking it out.
Yeah, he was tuning in.
Okay, so that's good. And the other thing that we got into that I think was a critical piece here, especially with Mindset Mastery, is what you're doing now. You graduated with sports media. You didn't aspire to work in a local, small community media company. Which is not that small now. We have 4 high schools that take into consideration 4 communities, and you commentate high school sporting activities from football, basketball, baseball, soccer, to lacrosse, to whatever, everything. But I think the track and field and like the running events, because it's tough to do that.
That's it.
And then you brought up a great point that if there's any small businesses out there, especially in the Narragansett, Wakefield type area, you'd be happy to speak to them to show them how advertising through 321 Media will make them more exposed and add to their bottom line. And I think Ben had a great idea this past spring that we were doing called Community Insights. And we were doing an afternoon program that brought in area community business people that spoke about what they did, what they love about the area, and this, that, and the other thing. And it was great. We can still do that with maybe some business owners, in the Prout school area.
Since I am going to be the main Prout guy, yeah, if there's any small businesses, people who are watching that have small businesses in Narragansett or the South Kingstown area.
Yeah, South
Kingstown.
Yeah, even North Kingstown. We'll cover some of that.
Right there, I left. There's my name and phone number. So if there's any small businesses out there looking to, have a sponsorship for 321, whether it's with Prout, or you can sponsor either my show, the D&D podcast, or Mindset Mastery.
Yeah, Yeah, it
feel
doesn't
free.
have to be just a sporting event.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
anything.
just a sporting event. If you're
'Cause we go all
sponsored
day long, right?
with a show with me that's I'm involved in, you get your logo presented, you get shouted out on episodes, and I believe once a month you get invited to come on to the show and talk about your business
Yeah.
and kind of advertise yourself a little bit if you want.
Which is fantastic. And I think what's good about your name and number there, it's for a business that may not know what we're all about. They may not know what the particulars are, how it works, what the how the program operates. Is the games broadcasted live? The community portion of the program. What are the podcasts about? What are they doing? Come and have a conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's essentially what you'd love to do, is just have a conversation to see what the business needs are and what they want and what we can provide for them. And I
Yeah,
think that would help.
And you'll get a free commercial if you have a sponsorship with us. We'll come in. Me personally, I'll come in. I'll film it for you
Yeah, it'll
guys.
get produced.
It'll
right? They don't
it'll
have to
get
give it to
produced,
us, right?
and we'll edit it, and it'll be on what's it called? Oh my god, it'll be part of the intro. It'll be on breaks that we go to.
321 Media.
Yeah,
That's good.
for commercial breaks. Like if we say like, oh, we're gonna go to commercial, it'll be one of our many
'cause
commercials.
there's a
that
morning show. There's a whole bunch of other programs. There's roll calls. Another one that you and I spoke about, that the town manager and the police chief, as well as several other people. I say several. There's moving parts with different guests and things.
Yeah,
And they talk about things, and it's informative information. And I think Stonington, we have some people from Stonington as well that are well versed, that can bring something to them. The Charahoe area, and then again, as I said, the Prout area, which they're the newest of the four, and that's a great opportunity to not only broadcast your business but grow
right.
your business. And it's not a matter of just signing up with Daniel. It's a matter of getting educated, getting specificity of what you want and what your business is looking for, and how you can help them grow. Right.
And you're getting your business out to up to 300,000 viewers a month.
That's what it is. 300,000. Yeah. Because it used to be, I think it was advertising at 100,000, and we've grown so much, it's grown to 300,000.
I think it was like 100,000. Then we were advertising 200,000, and now we're advertising 300,000 because we just keep growing.
Yeah. Which is great. And the exposure, and that's the thing, time after time after time, Joe Blow's Pizza or a restaurant or a realtor or whatever, you hear the name over and over. When the time comes, boom. You know what I mean? That's when you may pick up on it, and it may be from an ad you heard, months before, weeks before, or that day. You may be in particular. So I think we really excel with restaurants, retail businesses specifically as well. The retail stores, contractors, depending on who they are, can do well, but specifically the realtors.
Yeah. And as someone who works for 321, I mean, I'm seeing all the commercials all the time when I'm doing like broadcasts. So at this point, they're engraved in my head.
Yeah,
so
the turnover on them. Yeah.
Like if I got Lathrop Insurance,
Danny,
what's another one? D&V Mechanical,
yeah, Carlos Rios Barbershop. He's on mine a lot.
Yep. So. And it's always playing, so it's engraved in my head.
Yeah.
So
no, for sure, that is true. So I guess what I want to drive home to the audience, Daniel, today is, instead of looking outward, look inward. Really look at what you want, what your skill set is, what you're passionate about, or what may make you passionate, because you may not be passionate about anything at this point. You don't know really. And so what are you doing? You specifically, Daniel, are head in as far as the business, checking it out, seeing what you like, and figuring things out, and it comes from there. Am I
absolutely
right there?
And a piece of advice for the young viewers out there is, when you graduate high school, it's not a race. You know what I mean? To, finish college and be the best. If you need to take a year to just kind of, like a gap year where you got to just figure yourself out and find what it is that you like to do, by all means do that, instead of, because you get to a point where you go into a college and you don't know what you're doing, then you're wasting, what is it, 30, 50, $90,000 on tuition.
No, for sure.
So I would definitely recommend, if you're not fully certain on what you want to do and you want to take a gap year, it's not frowned upon. It's totally normal for people who want to figure themselves out.
Well, it may be frowned upon by the parents if this gap year turns into just a loafing around, not doing anything. But
right.
That gap year should maybe being a finding of yourself. Work a job that you didn't necessarily want to work, that maybe you'll find something out and doing something in that respect. So that would be a good opportunity.
Maybe you go out of high school and you find yourself in a blue collar job and you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Which right. I mean, me personally, it's not for me, but
electrical, plumbing, carpentry, any of those, and HVAC, there's pros and cons to them all, as well as the quote unquote white collar jobs as well. You know what I mean? It has to be something that you're truly passionate about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do what you love. And if you can't do that, then love what you do. And that's what I did. I didn't aspire to be an insurance agent for 25 years, but I loved what I did. I found the love in what I was doing, in that respect. Does this have a separate time, or we cut off at 15 minutes?
We don't have to cut off at any time.
So this is cumulative time right now?
This is cumulative time, but I mean, we can go back and, cut out that first muted part where there was no sound. Okay. But
where are we for time?
Right now it says 33 minutes, but
okay.
We're
good.
We were probably a good
15 minutes or so in.
Yeah, we were good.
People could hear
about 20 minutes until we had sound. So we're probably good. Yeah, about 15 minutes in.
Okay. So the last couple of points that I want to share with you, share with the audience from a mindset standpoint is it's not so much what the world gives to us, it's what we can give to the world. You know what I mean? What value can you bring? And I think you, as far as having your name on there with the number for businesses to contact you, is what can we do to provide you value? And that's what you want to do as a salesperson for 321, and here as a producer, what type of topics and all those types of things. And I'd love to have an interactive show, have people, chime in and, bust my chops, or whatever have you, and really get into something that, they truly want out of life. Because until we come up with it, we think in images. If I said to you, Daniel, where you live right now, think of the refrigerator. Is it a double door, single door? Is it open left, right, left? What's the color? And right now, if you're doing what I just asked, you're in your kitchen and you're thinking, you're looking, you're seeing, you say, oh yeah, this is how it. So that's how we think. So anything that we want, we need to visualize and see what that may be. And we also mentioned a great mentoring aspect is to find people that do what we do, that do it well, that we could emulate. Go to social media, go to YouTube, go to TikTok, go to Instagram, as you were saying.
Yeah, before we had sound.
Right. That was, I think, a point as well. And that's a great opportunity, because then you can see and get a taste of what someone experiences in a business that you may want to go into.
Right.
So that's a key point as well.
100%. I mean, I'm on TikTok as someone who's, Gen Z, who's younger, who's in his early 20s,
You don't want to give out your age?
I'm 20.
Okay.
But who's someone who's 20, someone who's like younger, who's always on social media. I find myself scrolling and something I was very attracted to while I'm always scrolling is like clips of podcasts of, just people talking, and I'm getting good laughs, and I'm like, man, this looks like a lot of fun. These guys, they don't have actual jobs. That is their job, is to sit behind a camera with a microphone and just talk about what's going on in their life. They make it funny and they make money doing it. And I was like, I want to do that. And now, me and Paulie G from Wesley here are
Yeah.
doing just that. You know, I'm able to sit behind a camera, talk with a microphone, and I make money doing it, and it's a
Right.
wonderful thing.
Well, I think we're producing some value to the audience where they can kind of take it and it would resonate with them. Just so you know, I've known you longer than you've known yourself
Yes,
because you were a baby.
that's
when
right.
I've known you.
I didn't have consciousness probably until I was like 6 years old. I'm walking around.
What am I doing? What's going on here?
What's going on?
So, Daniel Intrieri, 7 years and 8 months from now, what are you going to be doing?
7 years and 8 months. It's very specific.
Yeah,
but it gets the gears
you gotta
turning.
think. That's my point. Is what are you going to be doing? What do you want to be doing?
I'd say what I want to be doing is working for like a big company like ESPN, NBC Sports, TNT, ABC. Did I say ESPN? I think so.
Eternal Sports Network.
That's it. It's just like a company for them, having a position like what I'm doing now, where I'm commentating games, and you know I can have a show like this or my own, and when I did, because I'm also going to school at the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and I filled out a scholarship form, and they asked me, what do you bring to the table? So I was like, well, an aspiration of mine is I look up to someone like a Stephen A. Smith, who has, you know, he gives his journalistic takes on First Take. He has his own show where I don't think he really always talks about sports, because
no, he's on Bill O'Reilly. You know, he's
that too.
On Bill O'Reilly.
But I'd also see myself as kind of like a Mike Breen, where you're commentating games and you're known for that as well, and you have a recognizable kind of iconic voice, and I
a brand,
right? And I hope to bring that to the future of broadcasting.
Daniel. Don't forget your roots. That's all I'm going to say.
Absolutely not. When I make, oh yeah, that's right. I got to come back and do some mindset mastery when I'm with ESPN.
That will be beneath you at that point.
No, never be beneath me.
Do that. Okay, so I love where you're going with that, because having that direction and that passion, it may lead you there, or it may lead you off the path to do something else. And who knows? Maybe it's growing 3-2-1, having a branch that you take in a different direction in one aspect. So there's a lot of opportunities, and I think that's what's nice about Ben Barber, is that he gives young kids and people opportunities to use this, especially myself. You know what I mean? This is a platform that I can use to promote my my industry and in my business. So that I'm very grateful for. So I think we're on to something there, and it's going to be nice to see you grow and flourish into what it is that you want, and there's a lot in this industry as far as the media industry that you can gravitate toward. You mentioned a few household names, but who knows? You might brand a different aspect altogether.
Right. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, I want to be the next Stephen A. I want to be the next Mike Breen. I want to be the next whoever."
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as far as me and what I want to be the first Dan Intrieri. I want to be the first. Like, I want to be the first. I want to do something different than
you'll be Daniel to me.
Yeah, or Daniel, Danny, whatever you want to call me. But I want to be,
middle name?
Vincent.
DV.
So I want to be someone who's kind
DVI,
of like
it could be the show.
DVI the show.
Yeah.
So I want to be kind of like a do it all, jack of all trades kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I like that. I mentioned earlier that you guys couldn't hear apparently when we opened up that I got a haircut, but I took off my undershirt because I'm kind of not a chilly guy, but yes, I'm cold a lot. So like a shirt under the the polo. No, I didn't. I definitely didn't need it at 80. What it was 86 degrees right now. What's the temperature right now? 83.
My phone says severe weather because of the heat.
Mine does.
85.
Feels like 86. Although earlier it said 91 at like noontime or 1 o'clock.
Tomorrow, I'm looking at tomorrow, 95. That is going to be a scorcher. I will
95. I'm looking at 92. I'm going to say the over under
93
is
93 and a half.
I'm going to take the under.
I'll take the over.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Yep, I trust it. I was hearing talks of it reaching 100, so who knows? That's why
it will probably in the city.
Yeah,
Providence. But
downtown.
Like on the coast, like on the beach, I can't imagine it getting much above that. I love when the sand is so hot you can't walk on it.
No, I don't like that. I had to deal with that today. So I was at the beach. It was burning. But the water's ice cold still.
Really?
So I'm hoping today and tomorrow kind of warms up the water.
Because Daniel, the weather has really not been beach weather by any means.
We've been having rainy Saturdays.
Yeah.
Up until this week.
So that's why the water's so cold. It's probably 64 degrees. We need to get it up to like 74.
Which it was a nice, refreshing ocean dive. Take a little swim.
Seaweed?
Minimal
seaweed?
At East Beach. So
okay.
Hopefully tomorrow's the same when I go over there.
That's good.
To all our viewers, you'll catch me there tomorrow at East Beach.
All right. Anything else?
Nothing I can think of.
Okay. Let's
I gave my piece of advice.
What was that again?
After high school.
Oh, right.
If you want to take a gap year, don't feel ashamed and don't be afraid to do the things that it is that you love and turn that into a job. Because I was fortunate enough, and I'm sure hopefully everyone out there is looking to do the same. When you find something that you love doing, or you're doing something and you turn it into something that you love.
Yeah.
When you have passion for that, it's a wonderful thing. And it makes it feel like you're not even working.
Well said, buddy.
That's it.
I love that. That's fantastic. Okay. My name's Paul Gencarella. This is Daniel Intrieri at Mindset Mastery. We are on random days at this point until we have a set day. Maybe we'll come up with a set program date.
So far, we're pretty consistent Monday at 4, but
Monday at 4. So maybe we'll be on Monday at 4 next week.
We'll see. Yeah,
what happens, and we'll have another subject to talk about to bring you to the next level.
That's right.
All righty. Over and out.
Over and out.
So long, everybody.